Hi, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates, and I'm going to be speaking with you today about the subject, let me tell you about shame. I'm on my annual writing trip here to St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm starting a book called Healing Toxic Shame Through Recovery. My trip was a bit eventful. We were flying along through sunshine, and then we hit some clouds, and I thought I was going to die. It was awful. The plane was sort of shifting back and forth, and it just felt like it was being battered by a truck. That will make you look into your priorities and say your prayers after being through something like that. Last year, when I came to write the book on managing abandonment issues through recovery, I stayed at a lovely cockroach-infested hotel in Tampa, about an hour away from the beach. And this year I'm treating myself to a non-cockroach facility about 20 minutes away from the beach. It has beautiful, nice wooden floors. It has a coffee shop with a nice lady who makes brilliant coffee in the morning. Unfortunately, it's rained the whole time I've been here for 3 days, but I do have a cute little Fiat. It's this big. I look funny crawling into it. Really, it's sort of grueling, lonely work writing a book. It's not a lot of glamour, let me tell you. But I did go to the movies tonight, and has this ever happened to you guys? I'm standing in the movie line. A fella turns around and says, "You want some popcorn?" I said, "What?" He goes, are you going to buy some popcorn?" I was, and he hands me a bag of popcorn and says he had a coupon, and he wanted to give me popcorn. So I feel especially blessed. I got to see Die Hard and eat free popcorn. So let me tell you, without further ado, about shame. I found a killer quote by a woman named Kirsty Eger, who wrote a book called Raw Blue. She wrote, "Shame isn't a quiet gray cloud. Shame is a drowning man who claws his way on top of you, scratching and tearing your skin, pushing you under the surface." I thought that was just a brilliant description of shame. I'm going to read it again. "Shame isn't a gray cloud. Shame is a drowning man who claws his way on top of you, scratching and tearing your skin, pushing you under the surface." So let me tell you more about shame. Shame is the most prevalent psychological condition of our time. I call it the common cold of issues. Abandonment issues might be more volatile and intense and explosive. They're more like the flu with projectile vomiting is abandonment issues. But the common cold is very prevalent, as is shame. Shame, and a big focus of my book is going to be what a lot of books on shame are not about, and that is the oversensitivity that happens between couples. Because that's a lot of why people fight and why they have really nightmarish episodes between each other, because they're overreacting and they're hearing that, oh good, I get to do this. I can't do this in writing. Somebody offers this much critiquing your lovely spouse, but you hear this much, and then you react this much, and there's a big ugly fight brewing over nothing. Shame is a dark, oppressive cloud that follows you wherever you go. Shame is what the author Alice Miller calls soul murder. And that's a perfect description. Soul murder. Shame is feeling dirty. Shame can be being painfully shy. Shame can be needing compulsive rituals in order to attempt to clear the slate or cleanse your conscience. Shame is being prone to irrational spirals of negativity. We call it spiraling in shame, where you start with a negative thought, it starts small, and it just starts gathering momentum, and the next thing you know, you're in a very dark and very out of control place. Shame can be a lifelong dreary companion for some people, for many people. Shame is an inability to nurture oneself well. I do find writing difficult, and I find it to be lonely, and that's why I come to the beach, because it's the most nurturing, wonderful environment for me on the planet. So if I'm going to be doing something hard and something that really challenges me, I'm going to get some nurturing while I'm doing it, you know? Shame is having a harsh, punishing inner voice. It's really the inner voice of a parent that you had. When I was a kid, my mother was a rager and a criticizer, and she was hard. Got it from her father, who was a rager and a criticizer. And then, due to sort of an intense shame reaction, I had sort of a born-again, cataclysmic, black and white conversion, which was really all about shame at the time. And in that condition, the voice of the God that I believed in was very harsh and very critical and very negative. My mother's voice became God's voice. From the mouth of God, they say. So, for many people, shame is hopelessness. It's just utter hopelessness. It's utter self-contempt. It's feelings of worthlessness. It's really an inability to make proper eye contact, like on a date, like on a first date, or during a job interview, or during a therapy session even. Shame can be not spending money on yourself because you just don't feel entitled. Shame can be putting yourself down before others have a chance to put you down. I had a lady, and I'm going to write about her in the book, but she felt so evil. She was the nicest, sweetest lady you ever want to meet, but she felt so evil to the point of knowing for a fact that she was going to be damned to burn in hell forever. Nicest, sweetest gal you ever want to meet. Shame is extreme perfectionism. Everybody who has perfectionism, though, they won't cop to that. They say, well, I've got some perfectionist tendencies. You know, they're a world-class perfectionist, but they only have the tendencies now. They don't have perfectionism. Shame is beating yourself up when you do make a mistake instead of being gracious and understanding and forgiving with yourself. Shame is not feeling loved, not feeling lovable. Shame is not feeling entitled to what's rightfully yours. I'm going to write about a fella in the book who has a lot of money, but in his heart of hearts, he's not a wealthy man. He's still a frugal poor man. Shame is gravitating towards, believing in, and even cherishing negative feedback. That's part of what I was saying about my particular version of my faith when I was a teenager and a young adult. I loved the carry your cross and deny yourself scriptures, but the grace scriptures I thought was for sissies. I didn't like those. Of course, shame means picking partners who are mean to you and to treat you poorly. Shame is a negative energy that, unfortunately, for many people, it can keep you from wanting to be alive. Shame will kill you. One of my favorite actors is Anthony Hopkins. And in a movie called The Edge, he was speaking with Alec Baldwin, who was a fella who was trying to kill him, actually. They were, in the movie, they were stranded in the Alaskan wilderness. And the character that Anthony Hopkins played said, people die in the wilderness of shame. And then Alec Baldwin said, what? I don't understand. He said, they die of shame because they become hopeless and they don't do the one thing that could save them. And Alex Baldwin said, what is that, Charles? And he said, thinking. You know, when you're sitting on the sidelines hopelessly beaten, then shame is going to kill you. And shame is at the root of, in my estimation, most suicides and suicide attempts. And then finally, shame is the exact opposite of high self-esteem. It is the exact opposite of having tranquility in your life. And it is the exact opposite of having joy. So I just wanted to give you guys a few morsels of what's coming. I just started this book, and I think it's going to be one of the best books ever written on shame. I believe that. I have the advantage of having read and studied, and all this week I'm listening to the classic book by John Bradshaw, Healing the Shames That Bind You. So I'm being encouraged by that voice. But my voice is different from John Bradshaw's. It's a lot more informal, as you can tell. It's, I think, sometimes a little cutting, and I think it's somewhat. I hope you find it relevant, because I try to reach in and sort of grab the heart of the matter. So again, the book, it's not going to be coming out as late as September, maybe earlier. The writing is going quite well. But anywhere from mid-summer to early September. And again, the book is called Healing Toxic Shame Through Recovery. My previous book, Managing Abandonment Issues Through Recovery. You can't heal abandonment issues. They're not going to get healed. You just sort of have to manage them and have insight about them and not let them dominate you, because you have a lot of insight and you can sort of step back. However, the good news is that shame is an altogether different animal. Shame really responds to therapy and to recovery, and it gets better. It can get significantly better over time. So stay tuned. I'm going to be sending out quite a few of these YouTube videos and quite a few blogs over the next 5, 6, 7 months, just to keep you informed. This is a very, very important subject. I felt like I had to write about abandonment issues first, because I didn't feel like there was a really legendary book about abandonment like there is about shame. But I do think I can bring a fresh and a unique voice to the conversation about shame. So again, it's Mark Smith. I do have 4 other ebooks that you can download from our website, familytreecounseling.com. There's a book obviously about abandonment. There's one about affair recovery. There's one, a book written for and about men called A Punch in the Mouth from a Friend. And then there's a book about the healing powers of marriage. There's also a 5th book that I give away for free, sort of called The Basics. It sort of has all of those concepts together. So stay in touch. Thank you for watching. And it's my prayer that through this video and further content that's coming your way, that you can reduce your shame and live a life filled with more joy and more trust and more peace. So thanks for watching.